Red flag number two, the context of the complaint are almost nil. There's really it's like there's no really actual facts.
If this is such a mistake and impossible and not appropriate and going to get them in trouble, why would they have done it?
Ryan Reynolds loses it as Blake Lively pulls off one of the most self-sabotaging stunts in Hollywood history with her bogus lawsuit. And trust me, this isn't the type of chaos you'd want to boast
That would be an abusive process, and we intend to take all action allowable under the law, as you're saying, echoing what you're saying.
about at a dinner party. True to her signature style, Blake decided to play dirty with a questionable lawsuit filed through Vanzen Inc., thinking she could pull the wool over everyone's eyes. But the internet? Yeah, it's way ahead of her. And this is more than just a minor ethical misstep. Let's be real, there's a whole lot wrong here. The optics of this? Absolutely disastrous. It's clear as day this lawsuit wasn't filed in good faith or based on any real dispute between Vanzen and Doe's. Where do we even begin? Blake's completely veered off course and things aren't looking good. Her latest legal circus has somehow made her past PR nightmare.
This Van Zandt versus the John Doe's is clearly a Blake Lively lawsuit, but clearly was filed without anybody's actual name to skirt the issue and try to get this more secretive. Now,
seem like child's play. She's taken the art of getting messy to a level no one saw coming. A fake lawsuit? Really? That's right. A lawsuit with zero real defendants, no clear target, and just some vague John Doe situation. It's like we're supposed to play detective here. Who even does that? Well, any lawyer worth their salt will tell you can't file a complaint if you don't know the person you're suing. Unless, of course, you're trying to hide someone's identity. But if you're furious enough to file a lawsuit, you probably couldn't care less about keeping their name a secret. So, let's all gather round and play the game of let's sue some imaginary people, and see where that goes. Classic Blake Lively move, huh? Right now, this case has already been dismissed. Yes, you heard that correctly. It was filed on September 27th in New York, and then, poof, it was gone. To keep things extra spicy, the timing here is beyond suspicious. Reports are confirming it too. The lawsuit was dismissed before Blake's Civil Rights Department, CRD, filing in New York, as if it was all part of some well-orchestrated plan. A coincidence? Sure, right before the CRD filing, the lawsuit just magically disappears. Oh, but wait, here's the real kicker. It was dismissed by Vanzen Inc. just before the New York Times article dropped. How convenient, right? Now, it's starting to look like a well-timed smokescreen, a legal distraction, all to keep us busy while something bigger was going on. This was no accident. It was a scheme to gain access to private information, or at least that's what it feels like. But let's just pretend this is all perfectly normal and coincidental. Sure, no big deal here. Let's add some spice to this mess, shall we? Vanzen, Inc. shares an address with none other than Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. Not a small detail. This wasn't just some random lawsuit, it was a strategy, a diversion, designed to achieve an ulterior motive. And those ethical implications? Yeah, they're serious. It doesn't take a genius to see what this looks like. A shady attempt to bypass legal procedures, and honestly, it couldn't be more obvious. This isn't just a bad PR move. This is downright illegal. But wait, there's more. Enter Stephanie Jones, the publicist who's worked for both Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. If Stephanie voluntarily handed over communications between herself and Baldoni to a third party, that would be a breach of confidentiality, something we might have just witnessed. Allegedly, she gave Jennifer Al's phone records to Blake's legal team. So, where's the active lawsuit here? How did this happen without any legal grounds? How was this allowed to even happen? And here comes the real twist. WME, the talent agency that represents both Blake and Ryan, just so happens to be tied into this. The alleged attempt to grab phone records using subpoenas? Sounds fishy, doesn't it? The timing is absurd, and now we have the full picture. Vanzen, Inc., WME, Blake's legal team, and a shady subpoena situation. This isn't just a lawsuit, it's a tangled mess of manipulation and deceit. Let's talk about the complaint itself, shall we? The context? Almost non-existent. There's barely any solid information here. The deeper we dive into this, the more it looks like Blake and Ryan might have cooked up a scheme that's so complicated, even they might not fully understand it. Reynolds, with his complicated legal tactics, might have confused the rules of pleading with the rules of evidence. It's all a bit messy, and people online are definitely noticing. How far does this go? Is this just a legal spat between Blake and Justin Baldoni, or is there a larger conspiracy at play? We might never know the full extent, but what's clear is that there's been manipulation, deceit, and a lot of very questionable moves. Meanwhile, the drama keeps unfolding, and even Ryan Reynolds seems to have some problems of his own popping up. Remember that whole kid pool controversy? Yeah, that's another dent in his image. Ryan Reynolds isn't exactly thrilled with Blake's latest stunt, and this is far from just a minor PR hiccup. This is a full-on disaster, and Ryan knows it. He can see the wreckage coming from a mile away. His involvement in all of this? It's far more than just playing the supportive husband role. He can claim whatever he likes, but the reality is that pulling random quotes from Justin Baldoni's past and trying to use them against him to label him a predator is, well, it's not just messy. It's over the line. So, Blake, you thought you could pull this off? Nice try, but it's clear that this isn't just a failed attempt at manipulation. It's a full-on mess, and you're standing right in the middle of it. Own quotes. This kind of move could literally ruin everything. And guess who's right there dragged into the mess with her? Ryan Reynolds. It's clear he's not exactly thrilled, and honestly, can you blame him? At this point, Blake's about to wreck her own life and Ryan's career, and she might not even realize it. They've both been caught in a web of their own making, and it's unraveling faster than anyone could have imagined. The whole situation has become a mess of contradictions. They keep saying, "We disagree," but every time they try to clarify, it only digs them deeper. And then there's the big question. How far will Blake and Ryan go to protect their narrative? It's like they'll do anything, even if it means throwing every shred of ethics and integrity out the window. At this point, it's crystal clear. Ryan is the mastermind behind all of this. Everything that's happening, it's his hand at the wheel. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is just playing the part of a fake alpha, and the public can see through it. Will they get away with it? Probably not. If Blake thought she could pull this off like some kind of legal genius, she's about to have a serious reality check. This isn't just a PR nightmare. It's a full-on legal catastrophe, and it's only going to get worse from here. Blake, sweetie, you really outdid yourself this time. Just when we thought you couldn't sink any lower than the "I'm being persecuted because I'm a woman" act, here we are. You found a new level of chaos. Welcome to the world of legal messes. Trust me, it's not the kind of fame you want. Honestly, I cannot stand her for this. She's manipulative, deceitful, and it's all blowing up in her face. As Blake scrambles to save whatever's left of her reputation, the real question is, will Ryan Reynolds stand by her? Or will he bail the second this all starts crumbling even faster? Because if this keeps going, it could be a while before either of them recover from the fallout of this fake lawsuit and the massive legal disaster it's caused. It's only a matter of time before the public sees the truth. Blake Lively started this whole mess thinking she could take down Justin Baldoni, a harassment lawsuit that was supposed to demolish his reputation. A woman using toxic feminism to get what she wants. But somewhere along the way, her grand plan completely flipped. Instead of bringing Justin to his knees, she's now sitting on a throne built from her own mess. The whole thing has turned into an absolute spectacle. And in the middle of it all, Ryan Reynolds, who must be questioning every single decision that led them to this point. She wanted to take Justin down, armed with a lawsuit that screamed, "I'm the victim." But guess what? The internet wasn't having it. Instead of rallying behind her, the digital world started poking holes in her story. And now, it's all unraveling at the seams. So, as Blake tries to salvage whatever's left of her crumbling reputation, the real question is, will Ryan stand by her? Or will he finally realize this was a ride he should have jumped off of long ago? The way this is going, it's clear this whole thing is spiraling out of control, and neither of them will come out unscathed. Blake Lively's attempt to shield herself from a lawsuit accusing her of breaching confidentiality is looking more like a masterclass in legal chaos. Her moves, secret subpoenas, shady companies like Vanson Inc., and of course her ethically questionable tactics haven't painted her as a brave hero fighting for justice. Instead, they've painted her as, well, a hot mess. The lawsuit failed to establish any solid case for Ryan's involvement. The claims that he was just a supportive spouse? Please, that doesn't fly. The FAC clearly outlines facts that implicate Ryan not just as a supportive husband, but as a co-conspirator. And, believe me, Ryan is not happy about it. The guy who built his entire brand on charm and wit is now watching it all unravel thanks to Blake's courtroom drama. Chaos exploded when she accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment, only for the movie's premiere to reveal they weren't even speaking. By then, Blake allegedly forced Ryan to stay in the basement, and when it came to their personal fallout, she claimed he turned against her, launching a nasty PR campaign. Can we talk about how absolutely absurd this all is? Blake was supposed to be taking down Justin, not herself, and definitely not dragging her husband into this mess. In trying to win the internet's sympathy, she's done the exact opposite. Instead of destroying Justin's reputation, she's the one getting dragged, memeified, and torn apart online. The legal team took one look at Ryan's defense and called it a joke, pointing out that it failed miserably. Meanwhile, Ryan's carefully crafted cool guy persona is taking serious collateral damage. He must be thinking, I signed up for red carpets and gin commercials, not subpoenas and lawsuits. Blake's attempt to outsmart Justin has backfired into a masterclass in self-destruction, and Ryan's stuck watching the whole thing, probably wishing he could just Deadpool his way out of it. Now, here's where it gets real shady. Vanson Inc., the company at the heart of all this mess, shares an address with none other than Blake and Ryan. Convenient, right? And guess who's behind this? Eric Binder. This isn't some random company popping up out of nowhere. Vanson Inc. is tied directly to some of Blake's most strategic legal moves. No coincidence there. The deeper you dig, the clearer it becomes that this company may be nothing more than a smokescreen to push the narrative Blake and Ryan have been trying to sell. We're talking serious secrecy, and maybe even using the company to gain access to confidential information. Legal strategy or just a shady cover-up? You decide. And let's not forget Ryan's petty, snarky response to all this. In a filing that reads more like a burn book entry than a legal document, Ryan sneaks in pop culture references. Yes, the Mean Girls references are real, folks. When a legal filing drops a burn book mention, you know it's getting personal. Now the big question everyone's asking. What is Ryan Reynolds really up to here? Is he sitting quietly on the sidelines, supporting his wife while throwing out funny tweets? Or is he deeply involved in these legal shenanigans? Ryan has perfected the art of staying just under the radar. But does that silence mean he's just keeping out of it? Or is he quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes? And let's talk about the real collateral damage here. Justin Baldoni. His reputation has been seriously affected by this whole ordeal. After the New York Times expose dropped, Baldoni's name was dragged through the mud. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, right as Blake and Justin's feud was escalating. Was this just a coincidence, or did someone intentionally try to ruin Justin's reputation? The timing of everything screams strategy, and it's hard not to think that Blake was somehow involved. And speaking of smears, let's take a moment to discuss Blake's alleged PR campaign. It's almost like Blake and her team wrote the playbook on how to manipulate public perception. Leaked texts, twisted narratives, and of course, the classic victim angle. This whole saga looks like an orchestrated attempt to paint Blake as the misunderstood heroine, while Justin takes all the heat. It's textbook PR manipulation, and it's working, just not in the way she hoped. In Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Blake and Ryan of colluding with the New York Times for months to smear him. But here's the kicker. Justin isn't. Just sitting idly by. His team is fighting back hard, calling out Blake's team for unethical tactics like using subpoenas to get information from people who never agreed to hand it over. This isn't just some Hollywood drama. It's a legal nightmare. And if Hollywood thought they could play the system, they're learning fast that the legal world doesn't care who you are or how much money you have. It's serious business. And while Blake and Ryan may think they can outsmart the system, the real lesson here is how easily the system can bite back when you misuse it. Hollywood, meet the real world of legal consequences. Now, let's talk about Katy Perry. Yes, that Katy Perry, the pop star who's managed to keep us guessing whether her entire persona is one big act. Recently, she had a meltdown over a joke. From Wendy's. Yes, Wendy's. Apparently, the fast food chain made a light jab at her space journey, and Katy's response was, well, a little dramatic. Katy, really? You're going to drag billion-dollar brands into your petty squabble over a tweet from a fast food account? It was like a rocket launch with a malfunction, and it's just as over-the-top as Blake's PR moves. The timing, the narrative, it's almost like these two are taking their poor me act to new heights. Blake frames herself as the victim in a legal battle, and Katy pretends like the world is unfair just because Wendy's cracked a joke. Honestly, at this point, it's clear that both are playing the victim card. Blake in her legal mess, and Katy in her space voyage drama. The parallels are uncanny, and the whole thing reeks of manipulation and self-serving narratives. But in the end, they're both giving us an inside look at the absurd lengths they'll go to for attention. Whether it's legal chaos or space shenanigans, both are turning into cautionary tales for how not to handle public relations. In a world where celebrities are launching their own space travel companies, Wendy's just swooped in with a joke, and casually became more relatable than any Hollywood A-lister. Can you imagine that? A fast food chain took the high road while Katy Perry, who's literally been to space, had a meltdown over a side of fries. Wendy's turned the tables on these entitled, image-obsessed celebs and said, "Nope, we'll just handle PR like grown-ups. Thanks." The fast food world apparently is a masterclass in how to respond with dignity and a side of fries, while Hollywood is out here spiraling into tone-deaf meltdowns. Honestly, it's a moment of clarity we never knew we needed. The real takeaway here: Wendy's might just be the most self-aware brand in the game. Now, let's dive into the real legal mess behind this, starting with the oh-so-glamorous straw lawsuit. Ever heard of it? If not, buckle up, because this is the legal equivalent of fake it till you make it. A straw lawsuit is essentially a bogus lawsuit filed for the sole purpose of fishing for information. It's like shopping without paying. Grab what you want and hope nobody notices. And guess what? People are noticing. Blake Lively's legal team tried to use this tactic with Vanzin Inc., filing a lawsuit that was more about digging for dirt than about seeking any actual legal remedy. The thing about straw lawsuits? They're dangerous. You're not just misusing the legal system, you're weaponizing it. And when you cross that line, it's not just bad for your case, it's bad for your entire career. It's reckless, and as we can see, it's turning into a PR nightmare that's only going to get worse. Let's be real here. If Blake thought her legal drama was going to make her a hero, she's about to learn some harsh lessons. And then there's Ryan Reynolds, the guy everyone thought was the ultimate dream husband, charming dad, and the lovable, cool guy we all wish we could hang out with. But now, he's dealing with a mess. I'm sure he thought he was signing up for red carpets and tequila ads, not subpoenas and shady lawsuits. Behind the insta-perfect moments and those charming red carpet smiles, there's clearly some tension brewing in the Reynolds Lively household. There are rumors swirling that Ryan's less than thrilled with Blake's PR circus. While he's been mysteriously quiet about her ongoing legal drama, we can't help but wonder if behind closed doors, he's just about had enough. You don't exactly expect to marry someone and sign up for a lawsuit extravaganza, do you? As the golden boy of Hollywood, Ryan's brand is built on being the lovable, sarcastic, nice guy, but now his wife has turned their private life into a public, legal reality show. And guess what? His image is taking a hit. It's hard to crack jokes about being Deadpool when your wife is embroiled in a fake lawsuit that could ruin your rep. Is Ryan Reynolds starting to distance himself from Blake's legal disaster? It sure sounds like it. This whole mess threatens to destroy the very brand Ryan spent years building. We're talking about a guy whose charm has made him everyone's dream husband. But how does that persona hold up when he's wrapped up in a courtroom soap opera that looks worse than any red carpet faux pas? Honestly, Hollywood's gossip mills are eating this up, and insiders are saying Ryan is doing his best to stay out of Blake's mess, which, to be fair, is probably the smartest thing he can do right now. But let's not forget, this legal debacle is the type of thing that sticks with you, even if you try to steer clear of it. The fallout could have serious consequences on Ryan's carefully crafted public image. So, Blake's PR game may have just turned into the biggest PR nightmare of the year. Ryan's carefully curated, perfect image is about to face a serious test, and it's not looking like the happy ever after many imagined for this power couple. What's the real lesson here? If you're a Hollywood power player, you might want to rethink your PR strategy before it becomes a full-blown disaster. And for the rest of us, we'll just keep watching and waiting to see how this unfolds. Grab your popcorn because the drama is far from over.